causing peace in war times. This is the books of Enoch, chapter 18, 1 through 16. Let's begin. The books of Enoch, chapter 18, 1 through 16 by Zane Kochve Lechet Nupu, Black 7 Moving Planet Orbs, Uyu Tal Kinu Nupu, Noon Ethiopian Year 60, Nupu Embryo Year 96, 1225 2022 AD. I then surveyed the receptacles of all the winds, perceiving that they contributed to adorn the whole earth and to preserve the foundation of the earth. I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth. Listen to me, Sipu, the moon, sound right reasoning. Let me, Sipu, clarify this verse on what Enoch saw. I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth. The stone is myself, Sipu the moon, as your scientists have confirmed that I, Sipu the moon, am made of rock. Is the moon a rock or a star? The moon is a planetary mass object with a differentiated rocky body, making it a satellite planet under the geophysical definitions of the term and larger than all known dwarf planets of the solar system. Wikipedia. It is also a fact that I, Sipu the moon, by way of soundright reason, Nupu have provided my Sipu's great kin brother Afro Uno, because we have the same mother, Girther, Earth, with how my Sipu's the moon's surface and inner interior look like. Alright, this is out of the nature book. And if you look at it, the parts that
It's 5 o'clock.
If you look at the parts that I put in red, you see what ground and rock. Over here it says ground and rock. Here it says ground and rocks. Ground and rocks. What's ground and rocks on all of them? It's just the way it's written. So this is what it says, what half section of the moon. Alright, so after Uno was able to draw what Sipu looked like, because he was able to mentally project his image of what he looked like into Afro Uno's mind. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 56. Verse 2. I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth. Now Enoch also said that our Sipu, the stone, supports the corners of the earth. End quote. Many of you might be asking, what is Sipu through this writer talking about? Planet Earth is round. How can something round have a corner? Here are some examples of a corner. This is a corner in soccer. A man standing in a corner. And a corner store. These are not what Enoch saw. Remember, religion is a science. It's just the weakest of science in comparison to Sabaism science, pantheism science, no Punun science, and Noon science, respectively. Listen to reason. Unlike religion, Noon is nature and universe science plus reason. Religion in general is the last evolutionary stage of ethereal science, and this means that all religion is science which has evolved to the lowest point or degree in which its philosophy can still be called science. Introduction to the Nature, Book 1, page 111. In order to understand what a corner of the earth means, you have to study what's called angular momentum, stabilizing the earth's rotation axis. If the moon was not around, the earth's spin axis could be heavily influenced by the gravitational forces from the planets, and the climate could change. The moon stabilizes the earth's rotation axis through the angular momentum. To change a moving object's angular motion, a significant force called torque should be applied to it. The forces needs to be in the new intended direction and big enough to compete with the amount of angular momentum. Where does the angular momentum in the Earth-Moon system come from? Earth's angular momentum. 3 factors lead to the angular momentum of our Earth and its moon. 1, the Earth spin around its rotation axis. 2, the moon spin about its rotation axis. And 3, the moon's orbital motion. Here are some examples of angular momentum. right, this is the solar system. You can see the orbs rotating. That's a form of angular momentum. Picture of a man with a yo-yo swinging it around above his head, making a circular motion at an angle. A Ferris wheel and a form of rotating sideways. And even running track, which is in a circular motion. Now to address how angular momentum is connected to Earth having a corner or four corners is written in the book of Revelation 7:1. All you have to do is look up the etymology meaning of angular. Angular is defined from the etymology having an angle or angles, pointy from Latin angularis, having corners or angles, from angulus, angle or corner, see angle. It is attested early in an astronomical sense, occupying a cardinal point of the zodiac. Angulus, having many corners, is from mid-15th century. Angular, as measured by an angle, is from 1670, hence angular motion of a body which moves around a fixed point. Angle is defined as space or difference in direction between intersecting lines, late 14th century, from Old French angle, an angle, a corner, and directly from Latin angulus, an angle, a corner, a diminutive from PIE root, ang or ankh, to bend, source also of Greek aikalos, bent, crooked, Latin angular, to compress in a bend, fold, strange, Old Church Slavonic, corner, anka, loop, Sanskrit, anka, hook, bent, angum, limb, Old English, anskleo, ankle, Old High German, angle, hook. Excuse me. This is how your Ethiopian, Nubian, Kinkaid Egyptian ancestors built the pyramids according to our rotations. Masipu, the moon brother, and Ken Afro-Unu spoke on how the pyramids were built according to angular momentum called the Engelbet. Listen to reason. Another thing in the alphabet of the English language is Nubian created also, but from the wonder structure of the Great Pyramid at Giza, Egypt, and Africa. To put it another way, the English alphabet is culturally the pyramid alphabet of Nubia, Nuba, ancestors of the Ethiopian race. The Great Pyramid at Giza, Egypt, and Africa surely looks like this when looking at the top of it from a viewpoint above the pyramid. See figure 16 in this topic, as in this paragraph, mentally speaking, because the angles might not show well or none at all. Viewing the Great Pyramid from an above position. Excuse me. This is from the nature books. Looking at the pyramid from a top down position. It says the pyramid square, the astronomical square, and then the union square. You have three of the pyramids from the top of Giza. Khufu and his two sons' pyramids. Listen to reason. Like the angles pyramid of alphabet, the 10 numerals, the 1 cipher, and 9 digits can likewise be produced from the union square. This writer will now give you a demonstration of both the angles, alphabet, and numbers as follows. So again, if you look at the way the angles look on the alphabet and look at the union square right here, all of the alphabets came from that, which came from the pyramid square. The first 27 letters of this illustration are the pyramid or angles alphabet, completed with the Ethiopian Egyptian Ankh as the 27th letter, and of course the last 10 figures of this demonstration are the cipher 9 numbers of Nubian origin, which our Nubian ancestors used to build the pyramids. The Ethiopian Egyptian Ankh is the 27th letter of the pyramid alphabet, and it completes the alphabet. In Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 1, pages 156 to 159. 18:3. I also beheld the four winds which bear up the earth and the firmament of heaven. And I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky and arising in the midst of the heavens and earth and constituting the pillars of heaven. Verse 6. I saw the winds which turned the sky, which caused the orb of the sun and of all the stars to set. And over the earth I saw the winds which support the clouds. Explanation. Listen to us, the 9 orbs, Enoch, the Pasejet, sound right reasoning. The four winds are in reference to us, the orbs. This is just another word for us. The orbs just says the four horses, the four chariots, the four horsemen, the four horses, the four chariots, and the four horsemen, etc. Remember, there are 9 of us. Let this be known that a few of us orbs do affect the weather and wind on Mother Goddess Earth. It's an article here. Venus and Jupiter may meddle with Earth's orbit and climate. And the 405,000 year cycle, the tug of nearby planets causes hotter summers, cold winters, and drier droughts on our home planet. This was written May 9th, 2018. Another article said the sun's influence on climate. The Earth's climate system depends entirely on the sun for its energy. Solar radiation warms the atmosphere and is fundamental to atmospheric composition, while the distribution of solar heating across the planet produces global wind patterns and contributes to the formation of clouds, storms, and rainfall. The sun's influence on climate provides an unparalleled introduction to this vitally important relationship. The subtle influence of the moon on Earth's weather. Pale moon rains, red moon blows, white moon neither rains nor snows. For generations, people have watched the moon for signs of changes in the weather. The moon does in fact affect the Earth's climate and weather patterns in several subtle ways. All right, let's continue. Verse 7. I saw the path of the angels. Verse 8. I perceived at the extremity of the earth the firmament of the heaven above it. Then I passed on towards the south. Verse 9. Were burnt both by day and night 6 mountains formed of glorious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. Explanation. These verses are once again speaking about us 9 orbs. Remember, 7 orbs lined up February 5th, 1962 AD, but in this chapter lists only 6 of us orbs. Those which were towards the east were of a variegated stone. This is the definition of variegated. Definition of variegated: an adjective having a variety of colors, synonymous with varicolored, varied character by variety, meaning is more than one type. One of which was of margaret and another of antimony. Margarite is a calcium-rich member of the microgroup of the phyllosilicates with formulas. It forms white to pinkish or yellowish gray masses of thin laminae. It crystallizes in the monoclinic crystal system. It typically has a specific gravity around 3 and Mars hardness of 4. It's translucent with perfect 0-10 cleaving and exhibits crystal twinning. All right, so we have a margaret stone over here, which you can see some of the gray and silver, and with this little, I think this is considered violet. But this here, you can see the darkness and the dark gray. Same thing with the moon, see the darkness and the gray. All right. This is in reference to me, Sipu, the moon, and Tahuti, the moon god's favorite colors. So remember, it said it's white, pinkish, or yellowish. The word Christ came from the Greek prefix chrysos. Chrysos mean pink, golden, or yellow in color. Therefore, the etymological original meaning of the word Christ is pink, golden, or yellow in hue. Christ is a moon word which refers to the moon and to the Christ, Christian child or children called Cain, because the favorite colors of the moon god, sin, are pink, yellow, golden, white, and silver. Alright, so you can't lose. Can't lose. Afro Unu was on it. Let's look at what the word Marguerite etymology means. A pearl, late Old English from late Latin margarita. See Margaret, figuratively, that which is precious or excellent, a priceless quality or attribute, also used as an epithet for Christ. Mary, etc., late 13th century, also Marguerite, related to Marguerite. Notice that Christ is also associated with this word. So you see, it's an epithet. That's another word for Christ. So when you get up here, you talk about the word Christ. And it all connects to what? Margaret. Marguerite, Margaret, and Mary for short. Christ and Mary, see? The next word to define is laminate, which is right here. Alright, let's look at what laminate means. A thin layer, plate or scale, or sedimentary rock, organic tissue or other material. I, Sipu, the moon, and part rock. Is our moon made of rock? The moon's surface is dominated by igneous rocks. The lunar highlands are formed of anorthosite and igneous rock, predominantly of calcium-rich plagioclase feldspar. So remember, all of this is coming from what Enoch was looking at in this verse when he said he looked at the stones, right? And one of them was Margaret, right? So that means he's looking at the moon at this point. But again, the Bible editors and the way they wrote things is just to throw you off. So this is why you need sound right reason to come in and do what Afro Unu wrote in 1967 and 1968 on the Amanubi Rakapatah. He called what? Bible interpretation and explanation. If you go into the Nature Book 3, he used the word Bible interpretations twice. In that book and say that Nupu have to interpret the Bible in its proper context. So therefore, y'all getting another bunch of Bible interpretations by Nupu. That's why I named all of the Revelation books that I wrote with Auntie Juta and other orbs. It's called what? Revelation Nupu's Bible interpretation, or Nupu's Revelation books of the Bible. All right. So this is just an extension of what Afro Unu said in the Bible interpretation. He said once all the questions have been asked and answered about the Bible, then people will be qualified for their next level of information. So now y'all getting that. Now y'all getting all of the questions that's been asked, because people have been asking about the Bible for years. So now Nupu, through the orbs, are answering these questions through these videos. All right. So now we know that lamina is another word for Sipu, the moon. Now here's the other one, and another of antinomy. End quote. Now let's define antimony. Antimony is a chemical element with the symbol SB from Latin stibium and atomic number 51, a lustrous gray metalloid. So Antimony is gray. Once again, same color. So here we see that Enoch was seeing everything he needed to see. And if for those who didn't know, Enoch was from the Abel group of Adam and Eve. They didn't kill all of the Abel group when they was on the land of when they was out there in the Mediterranean and the Aegean Sea with all those islands on Patmos and all of that. Because Enoch came from the bloodline of Adam and Eve, and he was the Abel group. All right, let's go. Those toward the south were of a red stone. Explanation. The red stone is Auntie Marcia Mars. Mars, facts about the red planet. The middle one reached to heaven like the throne of God, a throne composed of alabaster. Explanation. Alabaster, translucent, whitish marble-like mineral used for vases, ornaments, and busts. Late 14th century from Old French alabastre, 12th century modern French alabastre, from Latin alabaster, colored rock used to make boxes, vessels for unguents, from later Greek alabastro, early alabaster, a vase for perfume, probably a foreign word, perhaps from Egyptian alabaster, vessel of the goddess Baz, used figuratively for whiteness and smoothness from 1570. The spelling in 17th century is almost always alabaster. A wonderful vase item of Egyptian alabaster vase. You can use it as a candle holder or as a decor vase to your home. 100% handmade, 10.5. See? Got the alabaster vase on the left. This is the color of Venus on the right. Same color. You can see it. This vase is yellow and white, which is the same colors as myself. Venus. You can see the swirls are similar. This is no coincidence. The top of which was of sapphire. I saw too a blazing fire hanging over all the mountains. Explanation. This stone was used to describe me, Neptune. And there I saw a place on the other side of an extended territory where waters were collected. Verse 12, I likewise beheld terrestrial fountains deep in the fiery columns of heaven. Verse 13, and in the columns of heaven I beheld fires, which descended without number, but neither on high nor into the deep. Over these fountains also I perceived a place which had neither the firmament of heaven above it, nor the solid ground underneath it. Neither was there water above it, nor anything on wing, but the spot was desolate. Verse 14, and there I beheld 7 stars like great blazing mountains, and like spears entreating me. Verse 15, then the angel said, this place until the consummation of heaven and earth will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven. Verse 16, the stars which roll over fire are those which transgress the commandments of God before their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore was he offended in them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. Explanation. All right, let's break this down. Territory where waters were collected. I likewise beheld terrestrial fountains deep in the columns of heaven. And in the columns of heaven I beheld fires which descended without number, but neither on high nor unto the deep. Over these fountains also I perceived a place which had neither the firmament of heaven above it, nor the solid ground underneath it. Neither was there water above it, nor anything on wing, but the spot was desolate. Explanation. The terrestrial fountains are the inner cores of us 9 orbs that Enoch was seeing as he looked at us. Because you're talking about terrestrial, it just means like on the planet, it just means on the earth. But he's looking in the heavens, and he's again the same way Ezekiel was peering inside of the orbs. Enoch was getting the same glimpse. All right, this is just a list of the planets on the inside. Verse 14, there I beheld 7 stars like great blazing mountains and like spears entreating me. Explanation. Remember, this is the alignment February 5th, 1962 AD. Which I already showed y'all. There's 7 planets down here. Mars, Saturn, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. All right, it was 7 orbs that aligned February 5th, 1962. Verse 15, then the angel said, this place until the consummation of heaven and earth will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven. Explanation. Listen to reason. When this scribe used the word culture, he means the mental and spiritual nurture of a human race or nation. And of course, the word nurture means mental and physical nourishment, such as correct information and the principles of right activities, including right eating, right drinking, and right breathing. Indeed, it is neither the choice of human beings nor spirit beings that we all are right now at rock bottom, point 3 south, figure 6, in part 2 of these writings of all existence. It is the nature of nature, which is the one supreme being, as explained in this book, who has us all, including spirit beings, trapped in the bottom half of the smack circle of order and some of the worst conditions possible until we can help Nupu and Noon pull ourselves out of these miserable conditions and grave problems of all different kinds and types. But in the meantime, Mr. and Mrs. Ethiopian by race, remember this, our mental and spiritual science called Noon gives members of the Ethiopian race the unity and culture power base we need for progress and also success. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. It's introduced to the Nature Book 1, page 231. Verse 16, the stars which roll over fire are those which transgress the commandment of God, because their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore was he offended in them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. Listen to reason. Like all persons and things, the first fall of the spirit gods and goddesses of absolute nature was at point 6 west. See figure 3 on page 238. At the beginning of evolution on the smack circle of order, when the sons died spiritual death called scientific death, and universe science known as Noon and spirit beings became invisible. Like everything else, spirit beings fell to the horizon of existence and into the death cycle. That original fall of the gods by nature grew deeper and deeper down through evolution until the circle reached the bottom point 3 south of the bottomless pit. The bottom half of the order circle given in the preceding paragraph is the bottomless pit, because the shape of the bottom half of the circle is like a pit, and the smack circle is a circle of time instead of distance. Therefore, the circle has no physical bottom. Hence, the bottom half is called the bottomless pit by our ancestors called the ancients. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. Listen to reason. What may be called the second fall of gods and goddesses took place 6,000 years ago, when the Caucasian race was ghostized from the Phoenician and East Indian races. The so-called fallen angels are the moon god Mercury, also called Sin, Siva, Set, Hermes, Thoth, Anubis, etc. The earth god Dagon, also called Leviathan, Geb, Sobek, Poseidon, Neptune, Dagon, the dragon, the serpent, etc. And the underworld god Pluto, also called Cyrus, Yama, Hades, Dis, Anubis, Ghost, Judge of the Dead, etc. Introduced to the Nature Book 2, pages 239 and 40. Alright, Jude 1, 6-7. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in every lasting chains under the darkness unto the judgment of the great day, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them, in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Therefore was he offended in them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. Here is the gematria. Secret year comes out to 61. Cataclysm year 2025 AD comes out to 61. That's the secret year, which is no longer a secret now. Therefore was he offended in them and bound them into the period of consummation of their crimes in the secret year. More explanation. Listen to sound right reason. Results of the point 3 South Cataclysm are conception and gestation, a new beginning for persons and things to develop ways and means needed to send persons and things back upward towards godhood and heavenly conditions. And the first of the ways and means needed is the science noon and the power of sound right reason, Nupu, to lead the way. The point 6 East Cataclysm is called the fires or ether cataclysm because it ethically unites persons and things by burning them back into place, meaning original formulas, and things go back into place where they were at birth of the universes, and they do this as though they know where they belong and have ways and means of getting there. And these upheaval and restoring activities by efficacious brain newts via 9 ether and 9 reason are truly supernatural and miraculous. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. Introduction to the Nature, Book 3, page 96 of the PDF. Listen to reason. An original spirit God is an indestructible and organized ether power, spirit organism of nature dedicated and obligated to accomplish what he was created by brain confrontation to do, and the same goes for an original spirit goddess in the female sense. Original spirit gods and goddesses cannot be destroyed in the physical sense, but they can be sealed in universe orbs by laws and cycles of nature through the process of evolution or some other major cycle metamorphosis, or they can and might be changed into another type of form of existence depending on the cycle and season. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 88. Listen to this writer's sound right reasoning. The way nature, the one supreme being, does bring those negative spirits of evolution toward being better over time, they must be burned chemically in very high temperatures. The 9 oils will place those spirit beings under the ring of fire of volcanoes. Alright, this is the ring of fire. You can look that up. As they will go off as we get closer to 2025 AD. Even after the 3 South Cataclysm, they will remain in this burning state, and this is what they feel, which is hell to them, called the lake of fire in the book of Revelation, chapters 19, verse 20, 21. Chapters 19, verse 20. Chapter 21, verse 8, chapter 20, verse 10, 14, and 15. So this is what they're afraid of. Alright, that's the hell. It's not where other people are going. But if you watch the other videos, you know what the lake of fire is. It's about a cleansing. This is where things start to put the earth back into place, because once these ring of fires go off, it's going to run all these other races to wherever they originally came from. And this is why this is being exposed more deeply now. All right, tremendous calm to peace in martial war times.